Welcome to the Biokats Flag Football Podcast. Jerry Howard, your host. We have a special guest today, Coach Tim Tess from Mountain View. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for all you guys have done this season. It's been great to watch the show and have you guys kind of help promote this great sport that we got going.
You guys won the state title last year. You earned the right to defend it and go back and play on Saturday. Talk a little bit about the game last night, because that was actually a pretty close game.
Green Mountain did incredible. They had the game against TCA last night.
Yeah.
And, I was actually watching that myself as a fan. TCA obviously has been a powerhouse the 2 years we've been around. We actually played them in the state championship last year. And so they went up 21-6 against Green Mountain.
Yeah.
And then Green Mountain was able to go on a run of 18 unscored to take a 24-21 lead pretty late in the game. But again, PCA is just that team that if there's moments on the clock, they're going to take advantage of it. And they got that final score. And so my heart goes out for the coach's staff and the players of Green Mountain, because boy, did they want that so bad. And they got knocked out a little earlier than I think they were expecting last year. And so this year, right there on the doorstep, and just couldn't quite put it away. So, so congrats to them on a great season, to TCA for taking that win. Our game last night against Pomona was terrifying, to be honest with you. We had played them last year in the playoffs. We knocked them out in the third round in what was just a really, really big nail biter that last year too. They had a 7-6 lead on us for the majority of the game until finally we put one in and then stopped them on their last ditch effort. So we knew, as much talent as they have on that team, the great coaching staff, Guy Ryan there as the coach, and we knew that they were going to be a challenge. We got to get ready for TCA, but boy, Pomona was the one we were like, I hope that we don't have to play them.
They're so fast and athletic, and they had some really big games late to make a big run.
I think they were on an 11-game win streak and going into last night. Dynamic dual threat quarterback, great receivers, lockdown defense. They really kind of shut us down in some ways, so they took the early lead, and we were able to come back and put in the extra point that ended up being the difference in the game. But then they took a late lead, and we had to go all in to get that back, including converting a 4th and 6 at one point. So really nail-biting game. Could have gone either way. Obviously, I'm incredibly blessed and grateful that went our way. But hats out to that program. They were incredible.
Talk about your team, because Kira Knowles, your quarterback, is only a sophomore. She's ranked top 10 in the state. She's got 38 touchdowns, almost 2,500 yards passing. But your receiver, Jessica Hopkins, both offensively and defensively, is extremely dangerous, but she's almost at 1,000 yards. Talk about this team.
Boy, a saying that I've had forever. Anybody I've ever coached for has heard me say it dozens of times. The same thing, but completely different. And that just tells you everything you need to know about my team this year. 21 girls last year. We graduated 10. Of the remaining 11, only 7 returned. And out of those 7, only 3 were varsity last year. So we had a conversation pretty early on in the season that while we might be the defending state champions, most of the people on the team did not have a stake to that claim. And so they needed to get over the idea that they're part of the defending state champions, and they needed to be the trailblazers that made their own story this year. And we lost, graduated so much talent, but probably no more than at our quarterback, Mason Premer last year, one of the probably top 5 quarterbacks in all of flag football. Incredible athlete. And we had some ideas of a few different quarterbacks, but Kira Knowles was the one that showed up and showed out all off season long, putting in the work. And she really showed us that she deserved our trust and our faith in her to be the leader of this offense. And she has done phenomenal. And I think we didn't do great enough by her earlier in the season as we went through our 2-2 start. But once we really kind of found her strengths and minimized some weaknesses there, some learning opportunities, I think she's done nothing but improve with every single game, every single practice. And her poise and leadership is absolutely that of a senior. So the fact that we have her as a sophomore, we are blessed for this year and the next 2.
Yeah, I was going to say, it all starts with your quarterback in flag football, and it's just amazing to see someone young who didn't have a ton of experience come in and make such an impact. That's a great testament to you and your coaching staff. Coach, talk about the other aspects of your team. You got your top player at receiver, Jessica, but talk about your defense. Defense, they say, wins championships. So let's talk a little bit more about
Yep.
your defense.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Defense was definitely ravaged a lot with only Ellie Roberts was a starter last year as a sophomore, as she returns as one of our captains, and so that's a great foundation. But otherwise, the defense is pretty much brand new. Jess did play some time last year on defense, but we moved her over late in the season to offense. But we're just blessed to be able to be one of the only schools up north, so we are able to get athletes from multiple schools. We have
Mhm.
9 different schools on our team this year, and so
Yeah.
we've got some great seniors from Berthoud High that joined us, in
Mhm.
Brooke Sig and Lydia Okiyama and Olivia Guerrero, and then of course our senior out of Longmont High, Avea Larrett, and they have just really put together a solid defensive back to go along with some of our returners that were JV last year, but are making a real name for themselves this year. And Lily Evans and Kume Smith and Chrissy Brandner, especially on that rush. Her and Ellie make just an incredible 1-2 punch at rush.
Yeah. No, that's great. Coach, talk about this matchup against TCA. It's a rematch of last year. Both, you know, the teams, the dynamic. What are you looking at, and what do you see in TCA that gives you some things to worry about on Saturday?
Well, so it's almost like a tale that you couldn't wrote better. We spent all of last year being the top 2 teams, and then
Mhm.
we would turn around and did it again this year for the most part. We had to actually catch up a little bit to get to that number 2, but from the second half of the season on, I think we were kind of the clear 1 and 2 there. And so it seems like destiny. And not a lot of people know this, but we have had a rematch already. We obviously took care of business last November 2nd on the state championship, but we wanted to play against them and they wanted to play against us. So we had them in our house really early on in the season. I want to say game 4, game 5, and they came out so fired up. You would think it was the not just the rematch from the state championship, but a rematch in the state championship. I mean, that
Right.
team just was ready to go. We were still kind of young in our season, young in our identity, trying to figure out who we are, work our quarterback into, feeling comfortable, working so many new girls into so many different positions. And so they had an incredible start to our game, and they actually took a 19-7 lead into the last 3 minutes of that game. We were
Mhm.
able to kind of find our rhythm a little bit and get a quick score, an interception on the ensuing drive, and then another quick score to put us at a 19-19 tie going into overtime.
Wow.
First time in our program history, and the only time so far we've gone to overtime. And we
Uh-huh.
ended up taking them to triple overtime before they put the final score on, and we couldn't match. So
Wow.
that was a really emotional, really great game by both sides. And honestly, I don't expect any different from this next matchup. They have got all kinds of speed. They got a great quarterback, great receivers. I got to see just a little bit of her last night again,
Mhm.
in that Great Green Mountain game. And boy, she just throws with confidence. She knows where her receivers are. Her receivers trust her. And
Mhm.
so we're going to have to really play sound technique, just great defense. It's the kind of team you can't make a mistake on. You have to be
Yeah.
pretty much perfect. And even then, you have to go a little above perfect. We need the ball to bounce in our way here and there. So it's going to be an incredible matchup.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game, great matchup. I know I'm sure you've got a lot of things as you've been watching film, strategizing, getting things done. We're looking forward to seeing the game on Saturday. Coach, good luck. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Keep up the great work. And I'm excited to see Biokats back next season.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, coach.
Thank you.